Join the conversation by calling in at 476-1045 or tweet into the show at 1045 The Team. It's Big Board Sports with Roger Weiland on 1045 The Team.
Justify comes roaring home to a raucous Belmont Park with 1 furlong to run. Gronkowski and Hofberg trying to run it down. Vito Rosso is fourth, a 16th to go. Justify is still there. Justify from Gronkowski. He's just perfect, and now he's just immortal. Justify is the 13th Triple Crown winner. Gronkowski was second, Hofberg was third, and Vito Rosso was fourth. Justify has done it.
And so has Larry Collmus done it. That's called nailing it right there. That's an A+ for Larry Collmus on the call. New York Racing Association, NBC track announcer. You watch the race on NBC and News Channel 13 here. And Larry joins us on Big Board Sports on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. Larry, Roger Weiland, Chris Honorado's on vacation. Brian Mariano filling in. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Great, Larry. And what a great call you had, man. That must have, that never gets old, right? The excitement of calling that kind of a race with the historic end of it on the line with the Triple Crown, that must never get old, having a chance to call that.
It doesn't. And it's an absolutely, amazing sensation while the race is going on. And honestly, the best part is when it's over. And you realize that you survived another Triple Crown and gave the calls you were hoping to give, and there's a feeling of relief now that the whole situation is over. But it certainly is a blast during those 5 weeks.
Larry, how do you prepare for a stretch call like that? Do you going in? Okay, go. All right, listen, I know Justify has a real shot here, and when he goes into the lead and he's going down the stretch, do you have some adjectives that you are ready to throw out there, or is this completely, they turn for home, you are just in the moment, and whatever comes out, comes out?
I think it's a little of each. You do have some thoughts going in on what you feel might fit the occasion. With the American Pharoah Belmont and this Belmont, there were two different things. They're both horses going for the Triple Crown, but one was after a 37-year drought. This was only a 3-year drought, so I wasn't going to say the 3-year wait is over. So you have to come up with something that you think fits the moment if you get that opportunity, and a lot of it is off the cuff too, because you have to look at how the race is setting up, compared to what you were expecting, and it's not it's like half off the cuff and with a few things in the back of your head that you want to use.
Larry Collmus, NYRA and NBC track announcer, joining us here on Big Board Sports. And Larry, watching that race, you talked about having a little bit of preparation, but that first quarter mile had to kind of take you by surprise with obviously the controversy that's been talked about over the last 36 hours or so with Florent Giroux and the way that he rode Restoring Hope. Talk about that first quarter mile and your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I was not expecting Restoring Hope to be in that position. You try to pay attention to all the news and what people are saying coming up to the race. And Mike Smith had been telling everybody he was going to the lead, and Mike Rapoli had been telling everybody that Noble Indy was going to the lead. So that was going to be what I was looking for. And all of a sudden, there's Restoring Hope going up into second and going a little bit wide into that first turn. So that sort of I think caught everybody by surprise. But honestly, I don't think Florent did anything wrong, in my opinion. And of course, if you think about it, the other way around, Noble Indy was supposedly going to be used to help out Vino Rosso. So I don't understand what the problem is. If Restoring Hope maybe gave Justify a little help too.
Yeah, well, to me, it's like a little bit of sour grapes here too with Mike Rapoli, and Noble Indy finishes in last, and he's upset with his jockey Javier Castellano. And you know what, Larry, we've seen it in horse racing, right? If Bob Baffert did instruct him to go out there and I don't know, play an offensive lineman or a wingman or whatever you want to call it. I mean, we've seen it before in horse racing, and doesn't that just come down to being a pretty darn good game plan?
Yeah, I think you have to have a game plan for all your different horses in the race, and Restoring Hope obviously was a big long shot going in, and didn't seem on paper to have much chance to win. So I guess that, you have to say he had to play some sort of a role in the race, and, whether it affected the outcome, I really don't think it did. I don't think anybody was beating Justify in that race, no matter what happened in the early stages.
Larry, you talk about obviously how great Justify is, winning 6 races in 111 days, but locally, trainer Chad Brown had a horse named Gronkowski run second in that race and actually closed very well into that pace that Mike Smith did a good job of slowing down on the backstretch. Were you expecting Gronkowski to be anywhere in your call as you turned for home?
No, I thought he ran an amazing race, and considering all the circumstances, the slow start, the pace being able to be moderated by Mike Smith into a comfortable one, and to make up all the ground he did, it was truly a remarkable race. And looking in the past at his speed figures that he was running in England, I don't think anybody expected him to be that good. Maybe Chad did, but I'll tell you what, that is a horse to look forward to this summer. And I think that we're going to have a lot of fun with him, and hopefully Gronk will stay along and enjoy the trip, and maybe we'll see him at the Travers.
Larry, what about Justify? And what's the chances, do you think, that Justify would be in the field of the Travers Stakes end of August?
You would have to ask Bob Baffert that. I think the latest I read was that a late summer or fall campaign for him, and last time I looked, the Travers was in late summer. So,
yeah.
So hopefully, that I was talking to somebody about that this morning. Do you want to run Justify in the Travers because American Pharoah didn't win it, or do you not want to run him in the Travers because American Pharoah didn't win it? There's still two schools of thought on that.
Yeah.
So hopefully Bob will pick the one that we want him to pick.
Yeah, somebody said to me, is he going to be, is Bavver going to be stupid enough to come back to Saratoga again with another Triple Crown horse and put him out there on display the Friday before the race and then race him and then end up losing again? Or is he going to, listen, Baffert will do the right thing by the horse, but he also likes to do the right thing by the fans too. He's good about that. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think we'll know for a long time, but, in any regard, what was the buzz, Larry, at Belmont Park? This is not, like you mentioned in your call, you weren't going to bring up, it's happened again, or it just happened. It's the second time in 4 years. The last time it was 37 years. Was the buzz anywhere close to the same?
I'll tell you what, leading up during the week, no. It was not the same, and we were all talking about it. Then all of a sudden the day comes along, and you get closer and closer to the race, and here comes the buzz again. That crowd was so loud in the moments before that race, and that's and I could really sense it when they turned for home. And I used the word raucous in the race call because that place was shaken, man. It was that feeling of American Pharoah again without the pre-race hype that we had last time. For some reason, that buzz just seemed to take a long time to kick in, but once everything started, and I remember the Manhattan, the race before ran, and I said, and up next is the 150th running of the Belmont Stakes, and you heard a roar from the crowd, and it was an hour before the race. And that roar built and built and built as we got closer to the race, and it was there. It was real, and there's nothing like a Triple Crown being on the line.
Larry, one more from me, and during your call, especially on the backside with the half mile, you pointed out that it was close to a little quicker than what American Pharoah had run. How much of your notes did compare to what Pharoah did 3 years ago?
Yeah, I did. I wrote down all of his fractions on a sheet of paper right in front of me and sort of memorized them a little bit to try to keep track, because I thought that would play a role in the race itself, comparing that half mile to see, what Justify would have left in the tank. And I think he was 48-1 compared to Pharoah's 48-4. And, you just wanted to kind of use that comparison to let people know how the pace was and let them know what it was like 3 years ago. And that could have an effect on how the end of the race was going to end up.
And Larry, it was also a feel-good story for Mike Smith, right? I mean, everyone seems to really like Mike Smith, the jockey, Hall of Fame jockey, and he was certainly all smiles after the race. But that was part of the. He gets lost in the shuffle a little bit, but boy, that he is tremendous and did everything Baffert needed him to do. But Hall of Famer, no doubt, and I think a lot of people felt pretty good for Mike Smith.
I was happier for him than anybody because if there's any jockey that deserves to win a Triple Crown, it's Mike Smith. He is an absolute class act, one of the greatest jockeys of all time, and it was neat to. I ran into him at the hotel afterwards and got a picture with him as I did after the Preakness, and it was just neat to have a jockey that really appreciates the history of the game and all that it means to win a Triple Crown, to actually win it. And I couldn't have been happier for him. I'm a huge Mike Smith fan, and it was just, I think, the icing on the top of the cake was it, being Mike aboard Justify. Agreed
100%. Larry, great call. Job well done as always. And I don't know if we'll talk between now and then, but if not, we will see you in really a short turnaround here. Saratoga's right around the corner, my friend.
It really is. Once the Belmont is done, that's what we all start thinking about. So it won't be long before we make that trek up there and enjoy 6.5 weeks of the best 6.5 weeks of the year.
Larry, we'll see you. We'll see you shortly, and we'll see you in a press box at Saratoga, my friend.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Larry Collmus, NYRA and NBC track announcer, and